Well, hello everyone. My name is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today I'll be tying a just fairly classic pattern, and it's the Doc Spratley. This is one that you'll see in pretty well every beginner's fly tying kit. It's one of the first ones they try to teach you to tie. The Doc Spratley, the Carry Special, things like that. So this is. If I had to bet, I'd say this is probably in 80% of the beginners tying kits out there, and it's a good one to learn. It gives you there's multiple things you can learn. You learn from this: proportion, sizing, how to tie in throats, that kind of stuff. How to use Peacock Herl, which can be a real pain in the butt especially for a beginner who doesn't know how brittle it is and stuff, right? So, okay, let's switch over. So in the vise today, I've got a Hends BL 724 in a size 12. I will be using some Guinea for the tail. I'll be using some silver Semperfli 0.2 mil wire for the ribbing. The body is going to be red chenille in a small. The wing is going to be made out of pheasant tail, and the front section, or the thorax, will be made from Peacock Herl. All right. So there's quite a few steps to take in this, and it's good, right? It's good to learn. Like I said, for the beginners, this is something that there's just a lot of good things to learn on how to thread control and proportions and sizing and stuff. So I'll be using some Semperfli Nano silk. So start your thread right behind your eye. Put down a good base all the way down. I'm a real proponent, real fan of having a good base all the way down. It really helps the materials above it stick. Right, if you've got a good base. So I want to stop about there, 3 to 4 eyes back, because you've got a bit of stuff to put up in here. You've got a wing to put in. You've got a little bit of that Peacock Herl to put in. So you want to make sure that you don't crowd yourself in the front. So now I'm going to take my guinea feather, and I'm going to take about 10, 12, maybe 15 barbs, and what I've done is I'll show you again. I've just brought them 90 degrees like that, and that lines up these tips, and then I just pull off. So that's what I've got in my hand. So I'll reposition it in my other hand, and I want about half, maybe a little bit more than half the length of the body sticking past, so about there. So that tells me I got to cut it about there. And that's where I'm going to start it, just right there. I want to leave myself space in the front here. So get those tips tied down nice and tight. And then make sure you're sitting on the top and your length is good. And I want to come back to about where the barb would be, give or take, maybe a little bit short of that. And you go lift up your tail by bringing your thread in behind and under, and then back over. And that'll help keep that tail up. Okay? So now I'm going to come forward back to my tie-in point right there. I'm going to take some of the Semperfli wire. I'm going to tie it in right on my side. All the way back again to the tie-in point with the tail. And I'm going to come back forward one more time. I'm going to take a piece of the red chenille, and I'm going to tie it right in from the beginning here. I want a uniform body, so I'm going to tie it right in all the way. Okay, tie it down, stop about there. With the chenille, I'm just going to wrap, touching wraps and I'm going over top, right? Lock that down like always. Cut off your chenille. Counter rib your wire. Get one right at the back there. And then open up and try to get like about 6 ribs in here. That's good. 5 to 6 is what you'd like to see. When I'm using smaller wire like this, I like having just an extra rib. Just it helps with visual, right? On the bigger ones, I like using like this uni French. It's a bit wider and it stands out more. So just gonna go back, just make sure that's all tied down. Plus I want to make sure I've got enough room up here. So now I've got 2 more items I got to tie in, 3 more actually, right here. One, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a throat with the Guinea. So I'm going to take about the same amount that I took before. So about that much. Again, stroke it out so it's even at the tips. Rip it off. Then I want to have about to the tip of the hook, roughly. That's where I want it. So again, I'm just going to put on my side and pinch it. Put 1, 2, 3 wraps in. Then I'm going to take that and make sure it stays right under. I want it right underneath, and you can always lift it up here, and if it's not right under, you can just give it a bit of a twist, and there, now it's right under. So I'm going to tie it in a couple more wraps, and I'll cut off my excess, and I will make sure those are all tied in. Back to right behind the where the chenille stops. And now I'm going to take some pheasant tail. So many things on the go here. Some pheasant tail. I'm going to try to find a decent feather here because I've got some really nice ones and I got some really ugly ones. So I'm going to take this one right here. It's actually fairly nice. See how it's kind of scraggly on that side? It's not what I want. I'm going to use these. Actually, no, I can use these ones up at the top because I prefer this color pattern. So the ones up here at the top are not bad. So I'm going to take about 15 to 20 of these, again, stroking them straight out, right? And then grabbing a hold of them and ripping them off. And I didn't get quite enough there, so I can rip off a few more. And I just have to line up my tips. So there's my little bundle. Okay. Now that I've got it in my hand, I realize it is a little bit too much, which is fine before I tie it on. I can feel that it's a little on the bulky side, so I'm going to get rid of a few. There, that's better. So now I want to go with my tips. I want the tips here to end at about the hook bend. So about there. About maybe a little bit in. There we go. And I'm just going to switch hands. 3 or 4 turns. Make sure she's sitting right on top. Which she is. Get a couple more turns in there. Cut off my excess. Make sure all those tips are tied down nicely. All the way forward, all the way back again to your tie-in point. Take some Peacock Herl, probably for the smaller fly like this, 2 to 3 of your Herls. It all depends on your Herl. Sometimes you get some really nice ones, sometimes you get some really skinny ones, so it depends on your Herl. I like having it a little bushy up here, but not crazy. So there's 4. I'm going to take that one out because it was a little thin. So I'll get 3 of them here. I'm going to tie them in by my tips. I'm going to cut the really brittle small tips section off. And then tie that in. Then I'm going to wrap right up against that wing a couple of times. Come forward lock it in. 2, 3 on top, 3, 4 in front. Turn myself over. You could break off your Herl, but I've had it that it ends up untwisting on you, so just be nice and careful with it. Take my whip finishing tool. Set of 5. Do another set of 2 or 3, just to make sure that it's in there nicely. Cut off my thread. I always like taking, just something I do with everything. Take out my little brush and just making sure all these fibers are, nothing's caught. And there it is, really simple, the Doc Spratley. Like I said, this is probably one that most people learn first. It's one of the first ones you'll learn from in any of the tying books. So, like I said, I haven't tied one. This is probably the first one I've tied in 8 years, 10 years. Just because I've tied so many when I first tied that I probably have 20 of each color in green and red and in black in my box, right? So there was no need to, but I thought I'd do a tutorial for you guys. So if you like that, give her a thumbs up. If you've subscribed, thank you very much. If you have not, consider doing so. When I hit 1,000, which is not too far away, we'll be doing a giveaway of a bunch of flies tied on this channel, as well as a copy of the books I wrote. So pass it on, tell your friends. Thanks a lot, everyone. Tie lines.